morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the show. It is Thursday, May 13th, 2021. We took off Wednesday. We're back up on Thursday, and we got a special guest today. Kyle Klingman's out. He's just going to be watching today because we got a full house. But Jaden Cox will be on the show along with a couple of his brothers, Zach Arnold and Dre Cox. And we'll bring them all right now. Jaden, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm great. I saw you rocking out to that music as the intro was playing.
I had to head bob a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, thanks for joining us. You know, we haven't really spoken much since the trials, and I think we don't have to dive deep into that. People know the story of what happened. I think, long story short, the weight didn't get made or wasn't on time or all that. And you since made an appeal, but I believe you've since dropped the appeal. Is that right?
For sure. Yeah. It's just I wasn't gonna get what I wanted. Um, and like I wasn't in it for money. I was told I had a very good case to get money. I had a case to that I could win for that. But as far as getting what I wanted, as far as getting on the mat, getting to the Olympics, getting on the team, that's my only goal. I don't care about money. Like I don't need it. I want the opportunity to prove that I'm the best in the world. And so that without being able to achieve that, then there's no point to pursue it.
Yeah. How long ago did it become clear that what you wanted was an opportunity to make the team? When did you realize that's just probably not going to be able to happen?
Mm, Probably around like a week or two before it was announced, or a week and a half before it was announced. Like was just talking to attorneys and stuff, and kind of just got the same overall consensus with them. Like, yeah, I had a case to win in a way. It's like I said, making money, but to not get to compete still, like getting on the mat, they said it was going to be very, very difficult, if anything impossible. So it's just like, well, I'm not going to spend $60,000 to get to a first ruling to not get what I want. Um, so I got more things to look forward to.
Sure. And I guess to that, looking forward, right? Where are you at? Are you training? Are you taking time off? I think I heard that you're going to wrestle 92 soon, and probably at the trials. I don't even know if the trials date's been announced yet, but what are you looking at moving forward?
Well, moving forward, I'm gonna try and go to Poland and the Dogu. Both are in June. Um, really, honestly, I need to be active. I just haven't wrestled in a long time as far as competition. Training wise, I've taken a little bit off, which I'm actually happy for, just because once you get back, like I started doing some more stance of motion and stuff the other day, and just feeling light on my feet, feeling fresh, feeling ready to go. And also, as for trials, I will only be going 92 if Snyder medals at the Olympics. If he doesn't medal, I'm going back to 97. Like I have something to prove. It's what I want. So, and like I'm gonna knock on wood, because like that's not what I want. Like I don't have any ill will. I want everybody who's on this Olympic team and to go and accomplish their goals and do their best. So, I think it's smarter just to go down to 92 for right now. Um, and then let's just say, Lord forbid, Snyder doesn't do well, and comes back without a medal, then I'm going back to 97, which I don't anticipate happening ever. There's nothing to even remotely think that he's the best in the world. So, um, I look to go 92, and then after my 92 stay and I go back and I take back my championship, then I'm going to come back to 97 the next year and take the spot at 97. I'm going to
Okay.
forfeit my 92 spot again.
All right. Um, how have you been doing or feeling? I guess it's been about a month. Did you, I don't know, lay around and be upset? Do you just get on with your life? Does it just kind of bother you? Is it, I don't know. You're a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, but I know there's peaks and valleys for everyone.
Well, for sure. I mean, I think overall, I was very disappointed, obviously. I mean, but at the same time, like it didn't crush me, and like I don't even, I think anybody you could ask that was at the trials, you could ask them like it sucks, and I wish things were different, but I very much held my head up high. I've always classified myself as more than a wrestler, and this was just a sucky situation, and one that I was going to have to walk through. And the only thing for me, like I said, and I said it in an interview that's now been picked up from Mizzou that I did in Mizzou, was just the treatment afterward. That was a problem for me. And so I'm a person that if you're in my circle, you're a ride or die. Like if you're in my tight knit circle, then you're a person I'll jump in front of a bullet for. So to have people who claim to be that, and to have an organization that preached the way that they were, and then when it came time to showcase that we were above the outside world, we were brothers, we were people who fought together, trained together, it was us against the world, that claimed to have your best intentions literally and physically turn their backs in cases, then um, it was something that all right, well, I that it didn't get showed to me, that didn't everything you preached to me didn't show, and now it's like I'm gonna make them all pay.
All right. Um, so I think you said Poland and Yasser Dogu. Are you set on doing 92? I know there's rumblings. Maybe Sajjalai is going to come wrestle 97. Have you given any thought, or is it like trying to get down to that weight?
I think it will just determine on how quick I can get down and be productive. I want to do everything right. Whether that's even if I do wrestle 97, I still will probably be pretty light for the weight. But I want to do everything right because I want to prepare myself to be at my best or the best I could possibly be. So that's something I'm going to talk with KJ. I mean, he just got back from Mexico on his vacation, so and we got practice today at like 11:30. So it's something we'll definitely discuss. Like, hey, what do you feel here? Do you think we should go 97 then 92? Do you think we should go 92 92? Like, and I'm also meeting with my nutritionist already. He just returned from somewhere, I think out of the country, so I can't remember where it was. So we're meeting and then devising a plan to do what we need to do. And that's kind of that.
Sure. And you mentioned and it's a some people would call it, or to some people perhaps, it would be a life altering situation. What happened to you, and the circumstances around the Olympic trials and the weigh-ins and everything else. You said it didn't hit you too hard, which is great. But I know we got two other guys, your brothers, on the call, and I want to bring them on and chat. Or I guess they're on. But there's a situation going on with your family, which is a lot bigger than wrestling. And can you maybe kind of give us some information and what's going on here with your brother Zach in the hat?
Yeah, Zach in the hat. I like I like that.
Thanks.
Well, and like you said, yeah, Bader, like there are greater things in wrestling. And so, I mean, my brother Zach, just blatantly has been struggling with kidney failure now for the last 8 months. And honestly, he's had this is I would say his second stance with it, because he also had run-ins with kidney failure when he was 19. But he's, we're just trying to do our best to, get the message out for, donors and people to be, people being live donors. I mean, Zach has been, in this now twice, and it's a hard life. It's a hard scenario to be in. It takes away from a lot of things he wants to do and a lot of things he wants to be a part of, and it's hard on our family, and it's hard to see him struggle with what he's going through. So I mean, like you said, this is a lot bigger than wrestling. I mean, this probably affects me, and not even probably, this affects me and hurts me more than a chance at going to the Olympics or missing that or whatever situation. So I mean, this is something that's true and dear and hard. It's my brother. It's blood. It's my family.
Sure. Zach, maybe can you kind of back up and give us, I guess, some history of what's gone wrong? And I know you had a kidney transplant. I think Jaden said when you're 19. I don't know how old you are, and you're in your 30s somewhere, but
34. I'm 34 now.
34. So 5, 6 years ago. How did you come about to find out that you had kidney failure, and what were the steps taken a while back?
So it originally started off when I was in high school. Doctors told me I had high blood pressure, so they put me on blood pressure meds. I was on all those through high school. But when I was 19, some things in my body just didn't feel right. I was worn out. I was tired. So I went in for a checkup the weekend of the Missouri State High School Wrestling Tournament where Dre was wrestling. And they diagnosed me with something called FSGS. It wasn't really anything that I did to cause it. It was just kind of bad selection. It doesn't run in the family. So they immediately started me on dialysis that day. And I did dialysis for a little over 3 years. And I received my first kidney transplant on October 25th, which is actually Dre's birthday, his 21st birthday. So happy 21st. And then things went really well right after the transplant, all the way up until last July. And I started feeling bad again. Went in, saw the doctor, had more tests done, and realized that my my body had rejected the transplant. So I started dialysis again the 1st of August, and doing it every day now.
Wow.
Looking for another transplant.
Sure. And Dre, the story touches you. I mean, obviously your family, but I think you were competing at the state tournament when this happened, and you won a medal, and you came back to the stands, and your family was gone. Is that right?
Yeah. So this was my junior year. Obviously, these are my brothers, right? But
Yeah.
junior year, Jaden's still in Little League. Zach's out of the house in state tournament. So I'm wrestling in the state tournament. This is my junior. I took fourth that year. I just lost to Chris Chianuma, who's assistant coach out of Cal Poly. So I just lost to him. It's a tough match. I get my medal. I had some, banged up a little bit to go up in the stands, see my family, like thinking I'm going to get a hug or a picture or something like that. And everybody's gone. And where are they? Well, they are across the street because Zach's in surgery. So that's how he likes to kind of steal my thunder. Both of my brothers do, obviously, but they like that middle child syndrome. So that's where we're there. And then again when he was struggling through dialysis, and we actually, while he was on dialysis, we were living together in St. Louis. I went to Lindenwood, so we lived together in St. Charles, and it was an interesting time because I was in school full time, I was wrestling full time, but I was also figuring out how to kind of be his nurse, right, when he was on dialysis and kind of help him out with that stuff. And then again, a little bit of my time to have a day, right? 21st birthday. Oh, nope, sorry, that's Zach's day now. Zach gets a kidney transplant. We're more than happy that he got a transplant on my birthday. But it's like, can I have a day? Come on, guys. So no, it's all good. It's all good.
Sure. Jaden, back when this first happened to Zach, Dre said you're in Little League. I don't know, roughly how old were you? And what did you understand about what was happening to your brother at the time? Or when did you maybe really come to understand? Maybe it was then, but maybe not.
I didn't really understand it. All I remember is he got these cravings for really weird foods, like potatoes in water, dipped in water, and just leaving them in water in the fridge and then eating them. I don't know why he did that. Like, it was just really weird. So I didn't really fully understand it. Like, all I knew is that, like, I'd watch him and he'd be hooked up to this machine, and I would just see fluid going, like, out of him and everything. And so, but, like, I didn't really fully wrap my mind around what was going on. And honestly, I think for the most part, like, I was really, like, shielded away, from it. I think, from my parents, and it wasn't something that we really talked about. And I'm not one to pry, like, if you want to talk about something, then you bring it up. And so, if Zach didn't want to bring it up, or Dre didn't bring it up, then I didn't really discuss it that much.
Sure. Zach, for those who don't know, and I talked to you guys the other day, so I have an understanding. I had a family member go through something similar. But what is dialysis? What does it do? How does it work? Like, kind of walk me through the process.
So your kidneys, their main function is to get rid of all the toxins and poisons that are in your body. They also it helps you urinate, helps you get rid of the fluid out of your body. Well, since my kidneys are shut down, I do not have the urine output that most people have. Really, I don't have any at all now. And then everything that I eat or drink, it stays in my body. So all the potassium, the sodium, the phosphorus, all the preservatives, all the bad stuff that's in your body from just your daily eating stays in me until I do a treatment. Uh, basically, basically the way that it works is, um, 6 days a week. I take 15 gauge by inch and a half needles. I put them in my arm here and here.
Ugh.
My machine is sitting there behind me. Um, it and so with those needles, what they've done is they've cut an artery and put it inside a vein, which makes the vein bigger. So it's easier to put the bigger needles in. During the dialysis process, one needle pulls the blood out of my body, goes through the machine, grabs a hold of all the toxins and poisons, and separates them from my blood. Also, it pulls the fluid out of my blood. Just basically gives me an oil change, and then goes back into me through the other needle. I've got it down now to where I'm doing it about 6 days a week, and the actual dialysis process is about 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours. By the time it's all said and done, with setting up, tearing down, and stuff, it's about a 4.5 hour deal every day. So
Every day.
yeah, 6 days a week.
Okay, you can take off Sunday or one day.
Yeah, right.
Dre, what was this like being a 21-year-old taking care of your older brother, and how much did you have to? I don't know. Did you put the needle in his arm? Did you have what were your responsibilities when you guys were living together and he was on dialysis?
So really, I think he has to, you want to have a contact person just in case something does go wrong, right, in that process. So that was my job, right? I did training with them, and I kind of had to figure out, like, hey, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. We were both, young, well, younger anyway. We were both young, so we were able to kind of figure it out and work through it. But there were some times where, there's like, okay, hey, something's going on. We got to fix this real quick. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. It definitely also helps put things in perspective, right? Because you're young in your 20s and you're thinking, oh man, this is the most important thing going on right now. But at home, right, in our apartment that we share, like, hey, there's actual life stuff going on too. So it's definitely an interesting experience, but I grew a lot as a person, and just the fact that I was able to help my brother through it was awesome. So.
Sure. And so you got that transplant the first time. How do you? I don't know, I mean, I know how they take it and they put it in there or whatever, but like, how do you? Is there a list? How did you go about getting on a list or letting people know that you need a transplant at first time? When we can get into this time here in a little bit.
So after I was on dialysis, I was a candidate to be on the national transplant list. I was registered at a few different hospitals, a few different networks. There are cadaver kidneys or transplants and living donor transplants. My first transplant was a cadaver. Basically, they called me, said, "Hey, you're one of the finalists for this transplant." I went to the hospital. They did my blood work up, and I was able to match, and I was able to get that kidney that night. Also, the other process is the living donor, which allows friends and family to be able to be tested. As far as those lists go, it's for the cadaver. Right now I'm on the University of Missouri list here in Columbia, and it's an approximate 3.5 to 5 year wait. The last time I did a little over 3 years, so I mean, I'll do what I got to do, but hopefully this time it doesn't take quite that long. And just because there's different challenges doing it now than there was prior. The first time, I was young. I was 22 when I got my first transplant. But I didn't have a family. I didn't have kids. I didn't have, the bills, just the everyday life, obligations that you have to go through. So this time the faster I get one, the better.
Sure. And I guess the friends and family getting tested to become donors. I think Dre, you and Jaden, both of you recently got tested. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that process is kind of interesting. It's relatively non-invasive, right? It was just a blood draw to see if we're a blood type match, and then it goes from there. And we both did it. The kind of the backstory there is a little bit is Zach's first time around, I was in high school and Jaden was just a kid, right? So I was in high school. I was about to start my college athletic career, and Zach wouldn't even let us be tested, right? He wouldn't let me be tested at all because he didn't want to put the pressure on me of, hey, if you get tested and you're a match and you can donate, well, then that ends your athletic career, right? That ends anything that you can do there. So again, he wouldn't let me be tested, which hurt a lot, right? Because it's your brother, right? It's your brother that's going through this. And anyway, he was able to get a kidney transplant. This time around, I'm coaching, but I'm not as physically active, so I want to be able to donate. So I saw that smile. I'm physically active enough. Anyway, I wanted to donate to him, right? And we got tested, and we're a blood match, and as is Jaden, we're both matches to him, or blood matches, but we're not close enough of a match to give a direct donation to him. So that's kind of the situation where we are now.
Yeah. And like even for me getting tested, like they wouldn't test me unless I like had agreed if I was to match him and was willing to give him a kidney that I was gonna have to stop wrestling. And so like obviously Zach has his stance on that, but for me it's like it's no hesitation. It's my brother, and I want him to have a long and fruitful life. And like he says, he's got more to live for. He's got a wife, he's got kids, and so, I mean, that kind of stuff, even just thinking about it, is just a no-brainer. And it makes it hard because I think whenever I got the news, I was kind of like on two stands because I got the news from Mary Beth, the doctor who set up for me to get tested, that I wasn't a match. I was like on two stances. Like on one stance, I'm like, well, I'm kind of grateful because I have goals and aspirations of my own that I want to go get. But at the same time, and a lot of myself I was kind of just really devastated because I just want to help him.
Sure. Zach, did you not tell Jaden the second time for a little bit because you were afraid that he, the gracious person he is, would just say, "I don't care"?
So me and my family and my mom, my grandma, we actually kind of spoke about it a few times. Jaden was in Colorado, so and I kind of hid what was going on for him just because of like I know what Jaden's goals are, and I know what he's trying to accomplish through wrestling, but I also know Jaden would try to do anything that he can to help me or pretty much anybody. And I had a feeling that he would be willing to give up his wrestling career for me. And while that would be, awesome, man, I wouldn't have been able to thank him enough. Because not everybody would make that choice. I didn't want to be the reason why Jaden's career ended now. Because I know what Jaden's goals are. Like I've told him before, like we're super proud of him for the bronze at the Olympics and the world titles and stuff like that. But I know his ultimate goal is at the top of that podium at the Olympics. So maybe if this year would have went a little bit different at the trials and we were going to see him in Tokyo in August, maybe come September or something, if he was a match, then we could have talked about it. But, I think he's got his goal set right now on competing at the next Olympics. And I mean, that's what I want him. Oh, look, there's mine. Give me just a sec. My machine's beeping. Hold
take your time. Get to see it in action.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We didn't tell him. I think it had been a few months before him and I talked about it. My mom, she probably sneaked it out to him at some point, but he never brought it to me. Do what?
It was an accident. She accidentally said it. It was actually one of the few times I've ever heard our mother curse. When she realized I didn't know.
Long story short, man, you know, what I'm going through is not great. I mean, it's not the funnest thing, but I know that but I'm doing a lot better than a lot of people that are in my situation. And I know that there's a lot worse things that a person can go through. So that being said, if Jaden was a match, I would not have taken one until he's got his Olympic gold medal from him.
All right. So like, you know, I know you can go, you know, when you get your driver's license, you can check a box to be a donor. And I've done that, and I encourage anybody to do it, right? That means that's when you die, right? That's how that works.
Right.
How does it
Yep.
work to be a living donor and like get signed up or registered or specifically if somebody was interested in seeing if they're a match for you, Zach?
So there's a lady that you call. Her name's Mary Beth Stevens. I've got the phone number. And you call her. Dre and Jaden would probably be a little bit better on this subject because they've actually gone through the process.
Sure.
You know, with HIPAA and stuff like that, I've had a lot of friends and family being tested so far. And a lot of them I don't even know because of HIPAA stuff. So Dre and Jaden would probably be a little bit better.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
Dre.
think, sure. So like at the outset, just understanding that is an option, right? I think we kind of touched on this yesterday, even from a cadaver standpoint, from a donation, just, signing up. And I don't think it's just these days, I don't think it's the signing the back of your driver's license anymore. I think it has to be done like when you actually do go and register for it. So I think the process is a little bit different now, depending on the state that you live in. But first, just an awareness that can provide an entire life for someone, right? We're here today, and Zach's here today because someone passed away due to unfortunate accident. Someone passed away, but Zach was able to have a new life from that. For the past 10 years has since then he's gotten married and had 4 kids. So just that awareness that is an option, and that hopefully that's something that people will take advantage of on that aspect. From the living donor side, it is a little bit different. Just the willingness to do that, because that's a sacrifice, right? That's a sacrifice for you. You're going to be giving up something. You're going to be giving up an organ. It's going to change your lifestyle a little bit. But again, knowing that is an option just kind of depends. So there's some really cool options in place. So for me, even though I'm not a specific match for Zach, there's still a system where it's basically a swapping system where I can, let's say that I'm not a match for Zach, but I'm a match for somebody else. And that other person has a donor who isn't a match for them, but is a match for Zach. There's like a swapping system in place where you can basically transfer kidney to kidney. So that now it's 2 people that have willing donors that are able to do that. So it's a really cool process. That's kind of where we are, where at least I'm progressing in now, where we're trying to learn more information and see what that's about. Zach's, I was talking to his nurse yesterday. His as he runs away, unbelievable. His he kind of needs a little bit more of a specific match since he's already received a kidney transplant. He basically has more antibodies in his blood that makes, it's not like a super rare match, but it is going to be a little bit more specific. Whereas I just found out the other day, I match up with a lot of people. I would be a good donor for a lot of people in need of one because of the type of blood and tissue and stuff like that. So now it's cool that they have this process, this transfer process in place for people that are willing to donate.
Sure.
Yeah. So I've got. Go ahead, Jade.
Well, I was going to say, and on top of that, when you go as a living donor, and at least from my experience with Mary Beth, whenever you're going to go and try and get become a living donor, like it's not like you say, hey, I want to do this, and they're just like, yeah, okay. Like they give you packets, a bunch of information, things you can read over, a lot of different options. So you're not walking into something blind, and it informs you of what's happening to the person who's also on dialysis or what they're going through, but it goes through the process for you to get tested and what they're looking for, along with if it is something you decide to continue with, then the recovery process and what that's going to be like for you. And so it's not like, you call in and be like, I want to do this. And like they do give you like, that you call in, you say, hey, I'm interested. They give you the information, and then you call back and be like, I'm still interested. This is why. It has to be your choice, fully. And it's not something they're trying to take advantage of or anything like that.
Were you gonna say something, Zach?
Yeah, so since I've already had the first transplant, my antibody count is higher than most people's, which my antibody count is a 93, which basically means that I can only receive a transplant from 7% of the population. Um, one of the things about, we were talking about the signing your driver's license and being a cadaver donor is that, you know a cadaver donor, they can touch or help up to 8 people's lives, I believe, because they can do livers and lungs and kidneys and eyes and hearts and stuff like that. So just being a donor, period, is really a great thing. And like when I had my first transplant, we received a letter from the donor family, and they basically told me a little bit about their son, told me about his family, where he comes from, um, and I wanted to respond to them, but I didn't know how, and so I talked to a few people about it, and kind of my outlook on it was, how do I address another family that lost somebody, and with their loss, my life got better. And, they're basically like, well, that's exactly how you put it. Like, hey, I'm sorry about your loss. I'm sorry that you guys lost a son and a brother. But, because of his sacrifice, there's other people out there that are, that their lives are going to get better. Their lives are going to change. And so, while, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. But, thank you for giving me a second chance at life. And just allow me to I was able to get 10 years out of the first kidney, and those 10 years would not have been as fruitful and as awesome, and I wouldn't have the memories that I have if it wasn't for that person's loss, so, or that family's loss. So I would just encourage people to really, if it's something that you never thought about, really consider just being a donor, period, even if being a living donor is not something that you're interested in.
Sure. So you got the initial transplant, and then you stopped dialysis. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So when you have the transplant, there's not. They don't really know pre-surgery how long it's gonna last. Obviously they're gonna put you on lots of medicine, lots of anti-rejections. Actually, I take 19 pills throughout the day right now, every day. So, so they put you on the anti-rejections. I was very lucky that as soon as I got my transplant, my kidney started working, and I was able to put out some urine. Because nobody likes taking road trips with me, especially if I'm the driver, because we're not stopping for bathroom breaks, because I don't ever want to go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So if you take a road trip with me, you better drive, because we will never stop unless we need gas. But yeah, so I got the first transplant. Things went really well. It was a really healthy kidney. I did a pretty good job, and a lot of that, a lot of how your body reacts to that kidney is going to be based on you just doing what the doctors tell you to do, taking your meds and stuff like that. And I think I did a really good job of it. Unfortunately, like I said, after time, my body rejected that kidney and had to go back on dialysis just short of 10 years. And and there's, for anybody that has any questions, like, it wasn't something that I did, it wasn't something that I personally put in my body that, caused it to shut down again. There's just no way to judge it. Like I said, you do labs, have blood drawn very, very frequently, just to make sure that everything's going good. And if they need to, they readjust your meds and stuff like that. So.
You brought up like a road trip, right? If you want to go on a road trip, you want to go to trials and see Jaden wrestle, or if you want to go on vacation, or you want to go somewhere, right, outside of Columbia, Missouri for more than a few hours, like, do you have to take that giant machine that's in the background? You have to take that with you?
So
or can you take days off, or I don't know.
So I have to, me going out of town, me going on trips, even to watch Jaden wrestle is kind of I have to plan ahead for it. So we left, so for the trials, we left on Friday evening. So I did dialysis Friday afternoon so that I could leave Friday night. We were at the trials. Well, we were in Texas Saturday and Sunday. And then we left on Sunday so that I could get back as soon as I could to do my treatments. But yeah, I mean, just saying going out of town for a few days, it's a pretty extensive thing. I can take my machine with me. But there's a lot of pre-planning and a lot of stuff that goes into doing something like that. The other option is trying to get into a clinic that's nearby. Where those problems cause is that most of those clinics are already full, and so they really don't have a chair for you. So
Sure. You got the replacement. You got off dialysis. It failed essentially, and you had to get back on. How did you know it failed? What were the, physical signs?
So I was working in Indiana, and normally, like, I'm a get up early type of guy. Like, I like to work. I don't sleep much. I like to, not waste a day away. So I was working in Indiana, and I had just been more tired than normal. I was having troubles waking up in the morning, and I was also gaining a lot of weight. The kind of one of the telltale signs of that your kidneys are failing is that you're holding on to fluid in your body. So your face, your hands, your legs, body parts just kind of hold extra fluid. And so once again, nobody knows your body, but nobody knows how your body feels better than you do. So once again, I scheduled a doctor's appointment. I came home on that weekend and went in, had blood work done, and they pretty much told me that I was back down to about 20% kidney function, which is low enough for you to start dialysis again. And we started the whole process again, doing all the blood work, started the treatments, and started working on getting me back on the transplant list so I can get another transplant.
And how long ago was that?
That would have been in July, August. Or
So
we're about what, eight, yep,
9, 10
yep,
months.
pretty close to a year again.
And can you just stay on dialysis indefinitely, or at some point, what's, I guess, best case, worst case scenario? Looking forward
Well, I mean,
before
obviously
transplant.
Worst case scenario. And it's kind of like I've said before. It's not really about how long that you can stay on dialysis. It's about your quality of life. I mean, obviously, doing those treatments every day is hard on your body and takes a toll on you physically as well as mentally. But I mean, I would say the hardest part about doing it is just the time and the dedication that it takes to it, the stuff that you miss out on. I mean, I've got young kids. I want to be able to wrestle with them, throw the ball and stuff. And there's just some days that I just don't have the energy. And then, you have the other side effects, high blood pressure, stuff like that, which in turn leads to other medical problems and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, while you can, still be a pretty halfway functioning member of society, before you have those treatments, you're a little bit fluid overloaded. You're carrying all those toxins and stuff in your body. So you just don't feel right mentally, physically. You're just exhausted. And then after you do that treatment, it takes a lot out of you. So while you've gotten the bad stuff out of your body, you're just drained. So kind of the way that I do my schedule is, I try to do the best that I can, is I kind of wake up and like to do my treatments in the morning just so I can get them out of the way, especially before the nice part of the day comes. And then the rest of the day, hopefully it wasn't a bad treatment. I didn't have to pull off a bunch of weight. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I can, then I feel pretty good and I can, spend time with the kids and do what I like doing. The other side of that is some days the treatments are just bad. You just feel like crap when you're done. And those are kind of the days that you end up laying around in bed all day, not having the motivation or the energy or really the want to get up and do anything. So it's not necessarily the longevity of your life, but more the quality of it.
Okay. Jaden, when your mom slipped up and cursed and accidentally kind of, I guess, spilled the beans, where did your head go? And was this pre-trials or post?
It was pre.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, I was just in tears. Um, I just started crying because one, y'all just keep secrets from me, all right, and don't tell me stuff. That's
I
first and
wasn't going to tell you.
foremost. So first and foremost, that's why. No, but no, it was mainly just like though like I was shielded from a lot of things. Like I still knew, and I'm not an idiot. Like I still saw the tolls and stuff that it took on him. I mean, I remember Zach. I don't know if Zach remembers, but you guys, we were in Minnesota. You were in Minnesota, and he, basically was gonna die. Like my mom's like, I gotta go to Minnesota and be with your brother. Like he had gotten an infection and or something like that, and like stuff like that. Like it doesn't leave you, and, So then I've seen the effects that it's had on him, especially like physically. Like when he's talking about like not even being motivated. I would say like Zach's probably one of the more motivated people I know in the world. Um, both of my brothers are. So it's like if he says like he can't get up, like he can't get up. Like if he says he can't move or I don't have this or I don't want to do this, like it's just the way that it is. So like I've seen it. So when I heard about it, like it it just put me to tears because I know that it's not an easy life. And I'm pretty much kind of like a black. I think of things like this almost like black and white. Like he's fighting for his life. Like whether or not he's on dialysis or not, like every day he's fighting for his life. Something could happen every day. I mean, it's not all black and white as far as like, oh, he does dialysis, he's fine. Like there are so many things that can transpire that could go wrong. And high blood pressure and infections and stuff are just some of those things. So I mean, it's scary. It's hard.
Zach, he mentioned something about Minnesota and I don't know, but during all of this from from Dre's state championship day to his 21st birthday till today, has there been like a lowest point, a scariest point, a most threatening point?
So I mean, there are accident things that happen, during treatments. Just about a month ago, I had a pretty bad episode. We don't really know what caused it. I was doing my treatment. My wife was in her office working. She heard me kind of yell. Long story short, I want to say I had a seizure. Just kind of blacked out. It was pretty gross scene. I pulled one of my needles out. There was blood all over that wall back there. I puked all over myself, and my daughter, she kind of came in and saw a glimpse of it. So I mean, that's stuff like that. I mean, that's part of what the training and having that extra nurse or the person that's helping you is there for, just in case or something like that. Because with that main artery being exposed like that, I mean, it just takes a couple minutes for you to bleed out. But as far as so, I mean, stuff like that does happen. We try to prevent it, but that's why you have that extra nurse or that extra person that's gone through the training to help you. As far as low points, I really thank God that I grew up wrestling, that I come from a wrestling family. And I wrestled for 11, 12 years. I mean, all of us here have wrestled, so we all know the type of mental impact that wrestling has on you and how well that it prepares you for life and just going through tough things. But I would definitely say that wrestling, being a wrestler coming from a wrestling background, has definitely helped me make it through this because, like you said, man, depression is one of the biggest things that come along with specifically dialysis. And as a matter of fact, there's a very high percent of people that are on dialysis that are on some type of depression medicine, just to, because there's so much that goes on with it. There's so much preparing, there's just so many appointments. You're missing out on so much with your kind of like being a wrestler. You're missing out on meals and stuff like that. Good stuff, family time. So I mean, it's and I've got good days and I've got really bad days. I mean, everybody that knows me, that knows what's going on. I mean, I'm sure that they've seen some bad days. So really, it's just, what's that? So really, it's there's ups and downs, and for me, right now, they're more mental. Because like I said, I mean, I've got a family, I've got kids, and I mean, I've got friends, I've got Jaden, I mean, I'm not on Jaden's wrestling level athletically, or else I would be trying to go to the Olympics and stuff. But I mean, how awesome would it be to be able to, fly out to Colorado and work out with Jaden a few days a week every now and then, and me, Dre, and Jaden were all like in the same town or the same wrestling room to be able to roll around and stuff like that. So I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that yeah, I know. but so yeah, I mean those are mainly the the biggest struggles that you deal with as far as ups and downs, and like Jaden said, I mean, there's days that you just don't feel like doing anything, or you literally can't. And so when the kids, they come and ask me, hey Dad, can you come out and let's go ride bicycles or come throw the football or whatever, and you have to say no, like Daddy's tired. Like I'm 34, like I shouldn't be too tired to go play with my kids.
For sure.
So those are the things that I struggle with probably the most.
To the point of your kids, right? You mentioned that episode the other day or a month ago, whenever it was, when the needle and the blood on the wall and vomiting. Like,
Yeah.
but you said my daughter or my kid came in and saw that. Like, how old are your kids and how aware are they of what's going on? I assume they see what's happening, but do they understand?
Yeah, so I've got 4 kids. Lane is 9, Lawton is 8, Cricket is 6, and Cedar's 5. The oldest 3 wrestle. Cedar will be starting wrestling this year, but they they're kids, and so kind of like when Jaden was young, like he saw stuff, but it's not something that we talk about a whole lot. They are a big part of my daily process when it comes to my treatments. Actually, they kind of fight over who gets to help Daddy get all of his supplies ready and stuff like that. And they like the older 2 boys, they like to be in there and just kind of watch what's going on. They ask questions, but it's more or less, how do you feel, Dad? Do you need anything? Stuff like that. One of the nice things about being able to do dialysis at home is that the kids can come in here after I'm hooked up, and we'll play chess or play video games or watch TV and stuff like that. And while that is time spent with my children, I'd rather be up, being able to move around and stuff, instead of them having to see that. But my kids, they know that it's called dialysis. They know that Daddy's got to do his treatment. But I don't think that they fully comprehend the aspect of this machine is what keeps Dad alive, and Dad's got other health problems that they don't understand or really know about yet.
Is there I know it's tough to say how long. Is there an average how long a new kidney will, or a span that's generally no?
No, not really. Unfortunately, I mean, I've heard of stories where people have gotten a transplant and that kidney never worked. They had the transplant, and within a couple of days they're back on dialysis again. But then I've also spoken to a lot of people and met a lot of people that they've got kidneys that have lasted 20 plus years. So a lot of it is really based on just you making sure that you're taking your meds every day, and trying to live a healthy lifestyle, staying away from the sodium, the potassiums, phosphorus, just all that, the preservatives, just all the bad crap that goes into food, just eating healthy. But also, I think a lot of it is mental, right? Just having the mentality like, I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to, get in shape. I'm going to work out, and I'm going to do whatever I can, or that's in my power, to make sure that this kidney lasts as long as possible.
Sure. And I'll go back to Dre, the science teacher, the smart one here. We definitely have three brothers on the call. And we kind of went over this, and we'll get this information from you and like post numbers and links and email addresses. But like if somebody does want to get involved and get tested, either to be a direct donor to Zach or just a donor in general, can you give us the best ways to go about this?
Yeah, so I think awareness, right? I think that's a big reason why we're on today. And I do want to just pause and say thank you. I am the smartest one here. Just putting that out there. Just again, thank you for recognizing that.
Jane's
I didn't
out.
want to mention this. I didn't want to mention this, but I do have my doctorate. I was going to make all my brothers call me Dr. Cox for this whole thing, but next time. Anyway,
I made us call you Dr. Dre.
Or whatever. That's what works too. No, but seriously, the awareness aspect is the biggest one, right? Realizing that there is a need for people, right? We have numbers of the hundreds of thousands of people that are on organ transplants list, and then those that are on kidney transplants needing a kidney transplant as well. So just the awareness is super important, understanding that this is a need that's going on, and it's a need that, it takes a lot of selflessness, but if you are willing to be a living donor, there is a process for that. There are a lot of websites that are, dedicated to that information that we can share. Like Donate Life is a really great organization. A lot of it depends on where you live, and because there's structures to these various organizations. So just the awareness that it is an option to donate organs in general, whether you're living or whether you're deceased. As it relates to Zach, obviously, I don't know about you guys, but I would be more than happy, as I'm sure Zach would as well, if somebody were to just randomly say, hey, yeah, I'll give you a kidney. Sure, no problem, right? That'd be awesome. And if that were the case for Zach specifically, there's a contact person. She's a nurse. Her name is Mary Beth, and I'm sure we can share that information. But yeah, there are definitely ways to help and get informed about the issue, because there's a lot of people in need, and that's been out of everything out of this process. I have some really unique brothers. I have some really talented brothers, right? As you guys are well aware. So seeing them go through this and seeing kind of the selflessness of this, I think Zach referenced yesterday. Well, heck, Dre, you're done competing. Give me your kidney, right? Just kind of jokingly, right? But it's all fun and good. But then the selflessness that it takes to go through that process, and then the fact that Jaden, without pause, and I think that was kind of Zach's hesitation. Like, I don't want to tell Jaden, because Jaden, without pause, would have been willing to say, "Yeah, wrestling career over. Take my kidney." It speaks to how awesome my brothers are. So yeah, I think. Sorry, kind of rambled a little bit. As far as learning more information, if you are interested in donating to Zach specifically, there's a specific person that you can contact. Outside of that, there are a number of websites that I'm sure, again, we'll share the website for, that you can learn more information about the process. And even if it's as simple as, to me, a win is somebody realizes like, hey, I'm not an organ donor and I need to be. Like, that's a win out of this, right? Because now more people are informed, more people are aware, and we're helping people like my brother, young, 34, 4 kids at home, helping people like my brother have another chance at life, which is awesome.
Sweet. And I think we have a card with Mary Beth's name and number. We can show it real quick, and then I can put the information in the description. But we're going to go ahead. Mary Beth Stevens.
That's very official, by the way.
573-882.
Who put that on
4994. My producer Tyler likely found it on the internet and put it right there.
No, actually, I just sent it to him. I just texted him the card.
Okay.
Zach, that looks like your handiwork. I'm not gonna lie. That looks like.
So all right. So
does that look like his fingernail polish?
Card. So I've got 6 and 5-year-old daughters, and I don't care how tough that you think you are. I don't care that your brother's an Olympian. If your daughter says, "Daddy, we're painting fingernails today," we're painting fingernails today. End of discussion.
Yeah. I had a pedicure last night with my 4-year-old.
I thought it was. To be honest, Zach, I thought it was Grandma for a second.
No,
I thought it was Grandma holding the card.
It's definitely me. It's pink fingernail polish.
You look pretty in
I like
pink,
it.
Thank you very much.
And I like this. I don't know the rapport. Obviously, you're brothers, and it seems like it doesn't matter if you're an Olympic medalist, a world champion. If you're the baby, you're gonna get crapped on. You're just gonna get crapped on.
I just don't get crapped on physically anymore.
Now,
Yeah, I do want to reference we're real brave talking stuff, but I'm in St. Louis and he's in Colorado. It's okay to do, right?
Yes.
We're in the same room. It's like, hey man, how you doing? Now it's like, hey man, cut that. What's that growing on your chin? That's stop it.
Speaking of chin, Zach, give me the beard update.
all right, so the beard, it's getting there. It's getting a little out of control, and I've had some friends with me. We talked about it. I have said that I am not shaving this thing until I get a kidney transplant.
Okay.
So, and it was roughly August, September when I started growing this. So it's right about the time that I got the transplant. So, it would be really awesome to get a transplant because I need to get rid of this thing. So yeah, no shaving till I get a transplant.
Sure. And I think we have that information one more time. Tyler, can we scroll that on the bottom of the screen? There you go. You can. That's a little bit more official than the card with the.
There you go.
With the Zach.
Look at that. It's at the bottom here. Look at that.
Mary Beth she's an awesome lady. She's very easy to talk to. I can't. So something that a lot of people have done was like, hey, give Mary Beth my name and number and have her call me. The process doesn't work like that because they want to make sure that it's somebody's doing it because it's what they want. So like I said, I mean, it starts with the phone call. Give her a call. She can send you the information, tell you what's needed, answer all your questions. And I mean, like I said, I mean, do this only if your heart feels moved to do it. It's not I mean, I've got friends and I've got some family that haven't been tested, and there's no hard feelings or anything, but just remember that there's a lot of people that you can help, even if it's not directly me. There's roughly 100,000 people waiting for kidney transplant last year. I think there's about 6,500 kidney transplants done.
Wow.
And I've done treatments with little kids, all the way up to people that are 80 and 90 years old. And, there's nothing that hurts more than seeing, those small children going through what I'm going through. So, I mean, if you have the ability to help somebody, I mean, why wouldn't you? So
Sure. Zach,
For sure, and I think.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to emphasize on Zach's point, like emphasize how much like the demand outweighs the supply to have people realize how much good that can come out of this and what you can give people. It's just I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to think about it because I think the reason a lot of people don't do it is they always think that somebody else will. And I think that they need to realize that in this case, that's not really the case. That's not really how it works. If you saw the difference of how many people need it to how many people are willing to do something about it, to even be perceived as a donor, it's not the case at all.
Question for all three of you guys, and are you guys signed up to be cadaver donors should something happen to y'all?
Yes, I am. And kind of when I started dialysis, I was 19. You're not really thinking about that type of stuff, right? You're thinking, man, I've got a whole life ahead of me. I want to go to college or, I want to get to work. Like, you're not thinking about that type of stuff. So I wasn't a donor. And unfortunately, it took me going through something like this to realize how important that it is. And, I mean, that's just not something that's really talked about a whole lot. So, but yeah, now I'm a donor now. With me being on dialysis already, there's it kind of limits me to what I can actually donate and stuff, obviously. But I mean, anything that I have that, especially after I pass, that will help somebody else, that'll help a mom or a dad or a son or a brother, or I'm sorry, son or a daughter or anything like that. Especially firsthand experiencing the impact that it's had on me of somebody else passing and me getting, 10 good years out of my adult life. I mean, I mean, I want to do whatever I can to help anybody else. Right. So, and I'm sure Dre and Jaden feel the same way. You know, I mean, you can't really do anything with them when you pass. So why not, you know, instead of your family just feeling like they lost, you know, somebody, you know, look at it from the point of, you know, our loss was somebody else's gain. And that person that, you know, that received one of your organs, you know, they're going to forever be grateful, and, you know, you're going to live, you know, through them for the rest of their life. So yeah, I mean, I'm a really big advocate for, you know, for being a donor, for being a cadaver donor.
Yeah, I think one of the stigmas that's kind of associated with a couple things. One, people don't think about it, right? You get your driver's license, you're 16, and like, take my organs. No, I need my organs, right? And you're not thinking about what could happen. I've heard that. I've also heard a lot of, well, don't check that organ donor card because if something happens to you, they're not going to try and save your life. They're going to, you know, oh, sorry, you're not using your, but that, you know, that's not the case. The organs that you know can pass on. We're talking about kidneys, obviously, but much more than that. A lot of people don't think about your skin. Your skin is one of the most harvested organs that can be transplanted to somebody, right? Think about people that have really severe burns, patients with burns, they get a skin transplant, and that can help save their life there too. So, yeah, I know we're all definitely organ donors because of, well, we've seen firsthand the impact that it can have on someone's life. So yeah, absolutely.
I didn't used to be an organ donor, but that's only because I had this weird. I watched some really crazy shows like police, detective, criminal shows. I have to tell you, man. Okay, I gotta tell you. I watched these shows, man, and like the person wouldn't be able to respond, but they like, and they're like, we're aware, but like they almost came off as dead, like they were pronounced dead, and so like my fear was, I was gonna be like, oh wait, wow, someone was taking my organs, and that's why like I tell people, like, if you're gonna bury me, like, make sure that I want to be buried with three things: a shovel, a phone, and some oxygen, just in case, Dre, just in case I'm not dead, so I can contact for help. So bury me somewhere with great cell service, okay?
And listen, dude, I'm really glad you're pretty because, man, man,
Good thing he can wrestle.
What? Yeah, right.
It was a fear. I was so worried about it, but like it doesn't matter anymore. So
back to what I said. Dre's the smart one. Sci-fi. Do you know what that stands for? Science
fiction.
Come on, Jaden. You can
say it. Hey, it's not science fiction. It can happen, guys. Okay, I'm just saying.
Are you okay, man?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Oh man. So really, that's covered the majority of the ground that I wanted to get through, and you know, I wanted to get this story out, and you know, see if anybody is willing to see if they're matched for Zach, but to what you guys hit on more so is just bringing awareness to people to just be willing to become donors, and like you said, once you die, and let's let your body go to use. So I definitely appreciate you guys coming on here. I just want to like give everybody a moment to say any final thoughts they may have to say on this topic, on anything else, dunk on Jaden a little bit more, whatever we need to do.
What did I do?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just like to say one of the things that, in case, I mean, this is a question that comes up quite a bit. Even if you don't live in Missouri or in Columbia, you don't have to come here to see whether or not you're a match. If you call Mary Beth and you get the information, she will mail you the information, mail you the test kit. And you can just take that test kit to a local hospital, local blood draw clinic, and do everything there. You know, kind of the other thing I want to, you know, just remind everybody, like I said, I mean, you know, this isn't, I mean, obviously, man, I would love to be able, from somebody, especially from the wrestling community or this podcast that sees this and, you know, be able to get a transplant. But it's not just about me, man. You know, like I said, there's a huge demand for this stuff out there, and we just really want to bring awareness to this topic. Not only just kidney transplants, but lung transplants, you know, heart transplants, eye transplants, skin stuff. I just want to make sure that people get all the information out there and see how much that they can really help people, how they can change somebody's life and just make their life better. And as far as Jaden goes with bashing Jaden,
what are we doing?
you better be at the next Olympics, and you better be on the scales on time. How about that?
Oh Lord, you are so lucky. This 800 miles.
That just happened.
No, I think to kind of piggyback off that. The whole compassion aspect of it, right? Obviously, seeing my brother, seeing your family member, but seeing your brother go through this, right? It pulls at you, right? So just that compassion that other people in the world are going through stuff. I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, Jaden is the way that he is, because he is so compassionate about the things that other people go through. So again, that just that whole awareness aspect of it is really, really important, because there are people that are going through life stuff that are, you know, sometimes more important than what time weigh-ins start.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's as much as that's a joke. That's a totally, you nailed it.
Vader, stop talking. You can't. No. No. I'm pulling the plug on this whole interview. We're done. We're no. You guys are horrible. It is a little stupid. That was mean. All right, but
I was just
valid point. There are more important things than what time weigh-ins are, and right now our family, my brother and our family are experiencing that in a lot of different ways. And so, I mean, I think the real thing I think about is, like, yes, this is hard for my brother, but it's not just my brother that this affects. And on top of that, with other people's experiences, it's not just the person alone who maybe needs a transplant that it affects. It affects their family, their loved ones, their kids, their relationships. You know, it affects so much more. And so when you look at possibly being a donor, I think it would be small-sided of you to just look at it as, I'm helping this one person. You could be helping an entire family, an entire, you know, lifestyle, life experience, from kids, like I said, to relationships, to everything like that. So, you know, keep that in mind. There are some things you take for granted that not everybody else gets to have. You know, one of the things for us is we got, like, for me and Dre, like, we got working kidneys, and like you said, like, Zach, this just came upon him. He was the oddball out. I mean, he's always been odd. Look at his beard. It's just weird. So like that's my take back on Zach. And, you know, and Dre always being a nurse, it's kind of fitting. He'd always liked skirts. So it's always been his thing. But I mean, so I mean, but honestly, we've all been through so much, and I just think that you guys need to understand how far and how great of a thing this can be for you to be a living donor, and how many people's lives it will truly affect.
Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on. Jaden, I appreciate the teasing from the older brothers. I appreciate, you know, you telling your stories, helping giving information and context to kind of what Zach's going through and what just people in general are going through who are in need of organs, whether it's a kidney or liver, eyeballs, skin, heart, anything. So I think that's going to do it, unless anybody else has any final thoughts.
No, I'm good. Hey, make sure that you donate that hair that you got growing there. So beautiful.
I'm not above it. I'm not below it. Cool. I'll donate the hair when you donate the beard.
All right, sounds good.
All right, but for real, guys, thanks so much for coming on. We'll get Mary Beth's number posted below this video and get some other information out there about how people can help. So for Jaden, Dre, and Zach, I'm Mark. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. awesome, guys. That was brutal. Hey, there's no need for a new kidney because he's going to be dead. Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. All joking aside, I thought it went really well, and hopefully, it was informative, and I got the word out about Zach, and not just Zach, but about